What a Friday and Saturday and Sunday of announcements. You know what I mean? It just my goodness, we had some crazy things happen. So let's talk about those, right? We're going to talk about those. We're going to talk some trade setups. We'll talk your pairs you guys want to Daryl, I will be getting you guys to sign up again very soon. I'm going to be sending out emails Monday for that. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna do this as well. Monday night at 7 o'clock, I'm gonna be having a um another session. Uh, let's see, webinars. Why doesn't this just do what I want it to do? There we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that link now. This, a lot of you guys have registered for already. I did not mess with this one, so that's good. But I'm going to send this out right now. That is a link to the session on Monday. This is the one that we were supposed to have last week that got cut off, but we're going to have it Monday night, 7 p.m. again. We'll probably stick to 4 p.m. though, in the future, just doing it 7 p.m. this week. And then once I refix everything for next week, I'll get a bunch of you guys registered that have been in attendance a lot. And then I will then email out links and we'll get the growth rolling on there. So I apologize about all the tech issues. Hey, but I'm just trying to create the best service possible. Just create the best service possible for as many people as possible. So, really quickly, for if you don't know, I'm not a commodity trading advisor. Simply here to show you opportunity. What you're doing, I should say, I'm not acting in my capacity as a commodity trading advisor. I'm just simply here showing you opportunity. What you guys are doing with that opportunity is all up to you. As well as you have to be aware of any and all risk, understand that risk, be willing to accept that risk and take on that risk. And lastly, any trades that you take, if you decide to take those, just know they are of and on your own volition here today. For those that don't know me, if this is your first time being in one of these, my name is James Bishop. Um, my name is James Bishop. I've been in trading and trading education for over 15 plus years. The founder of a managed fund, also a retirement and estate planning company. Managed fund is up like 20 some percent this year, which is just fantastic. I have my MBA in portfolio management, and then I'm working on my doctorate right now in finance and economics. I say that just to say, look, ask any question that you guys may have, and I'm here like an open book. Greg, good to see you, buddy. I've been calling. Give me a shout back sometime soon whenever you can. I don't know if you got my calls or not. Um, Now, quick housekeeping. First and foremost, if you as always, I'm gonna do this every time just because let me oh, really quickly, how many of you guys were in the session that I did via Discord? How many were in that session I did on Discord? I got some feedback. A lot of people said, "Hey, just stick to Zoom. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers that you're used to." Some people really liked it. Thought it was really cool. So we'll test them periodically, but I'll try to stick to Zooms. I just don't want to overwhelm your inbox, with emails when we decide to have sessions and stuff. So, but there is a Discord channel. I just shared it out with you. I'll be sending out more regular alerts, maybe videos and things like that. I'll be posting in there as well. So join as much as possible, and interact, right? Ask questions. I'm here to give you guys answers, things like that. Special sessions, we have that one coming up on Monday. I will send out that link again towards the end of this, and so you guys can join on Monday as well. So let's kind of just do a brief check-in on the world. I did not get to update this because I was dealing with the tech issues. So we're going to go right now to Forex Factory and let's look at, I'm going to go none. I'm going to look at US, apply, and then I'm going to go from here to here. Now, when we look at US and economic announcements, there's not a lot. Okay. There's not a lot. We have manufacturing services PMI. We have final services PMI. That's purchasing manager index. What that means is um, the cost of building your widget, gidget, or gas gizmo. If that goes up, then the price of the prospective thing is going to go up. Unit labor costs, non-farm payroll, as well, consumer credit. That'll be something interesting to look at. We have the bond auction as well. We'll see how that looks at. And then what I like looking at here, factory orders as well. But overall, slow news week. But I don't think it's going to be a slow news week. Uh, Mainly with everything that happened this past week, I think it's going to feed into this week, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's see, non-farm payroll last week. Yeah, well, that's where we'll start. Okay, so non-farm payroll came in. We were projected to come in at 106,000 jobs. All right. We were estimated to come in at, but we ended up coming in at 73,000 jobs. And then last month's non-farm payroll was tremendously off. Let me just verify this because that could be trading economics. I want to check that. Calendar, recent. Custom. Let me go. That was the first. I want to go to the first. Submit. Oh, I got to get logged in. Please have everything saved. Beautiful. So we go recent, custom, to the first, to the first. I just want to verify because that could be, yeah, non-farm payrolls. The previous month was revised down to 14,000. Okay. Previously, it was reported at 147,000, but it came in at 14,000. Okay. So that was a big drop in non-farm payroll, which is, hey, it's probably closer to what I would see. Why? Well, a couple of reasons. First and foremost, all of those individuals that were let go from the government and the government jobs, they were kind of on this like they had a severance package that lasted them until July, August. So all of those individuals are just now showing up in non-farm payrolls. So that revision makes sense. The additional is we've seen a lot of job loss from, major tech companies and other companies as they just use AI to replace individuals, okay? So now here's what I just think is just unbelievable. And I'm gonna tell you guys why. And you know me, I'm gonna be real with you all. Okay, is that when President Trump fired the person from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics that read the report, I mean, that's just real interesting. All I got to say is the next person, I bet you they call in sick when there's a bad report. I guarantee you they call in sick when there's a bad report. Or we don't get the report before there's a bad report. I promise you that. That's that's it is it's unprecedented. I've never seen that in history in the United States, where the announcements are the announcements. There's nothing we can do about it, right? GDP came in higher than expected, but we did have a revision down for April. Right, April GDP came in at negative 0.3%. This came in at negative 0.5%, and then this quarter came in at a positive 3% growth. So we'll see what that is. Jim, that is hilarious. Oh, maybe so. That may be. Jim, do you care if I read what you said there? I don't want to, make you feel anything. Oh, he said it's okay. Jim said, the next labor and stat guy will be in Trump's pocket. He will call Donald Trump for the numbers that he wants published. Who knows? Maybe, right? I've literally never seen that. I don't know what to make of that. And, I have my own personal opinions. But that is just personally, I think it's a bit ridiculous that you fire the person whose job is just to read the numbers, right? They didn't make up the numbers, they didn't count the numbers, they didn't funny money the numbers, they just read the numbers. That's it. And so now we get to a point where if the president fires somebody because he didn't believe that the numbers were accurate, then how is anybody to believe that the next numbers are going to be accurate? And does that make us any different than what generally people say about China? So it's just an interesting thing. It's something we're going to have to deal with. People are going to trade off of these numbers regardless. So whether we trust them, don't trust them, like them, don't like them, find them ridiculous, find them whatever, people are going to trade off of them. Okay, the next thing that occurred is India. How many of you guys have heard about what happened in India? Good evening to you, Bill. Let's see. Bryce says yes. Anybody else heard about India? And then we'll also got to talk about China as well. So in India, what occurred in India over the past couple of days is basically India said, you know what? Give us tariffs if you want to give us tariffs. We're done. We're not playing this game. We're not going to negotiate. Whatever you want to do, do. They realigned themselves with Russia and China, and they are going to be trading in BRICS from now on. Whatever that's look, I'm gonna just say that's a different connotation where the neighborhoods that I grew up in, but you don't want to, who knows? They're going to be trading with whatever they're going to call the BRICS currency. Okay. And let's see. Stu said she lied during the negative 818,000 adjustment later month. Let's see. India 35% tariffs. Yeah. They don't care what it is. It's going to be the BRICS currency. And they have all sorts of nations are a part of BRICS now. And I think that we're going to see is kind of like we talked about in here a few weeks ago, maybe even a month or two ago. I had done a discussion on how I think the world will be in bifurcated trade. You will have part of the world will be trading in US dollars as the primary, and part of the world will be trading as BRICS as the primary. And I see that happening, right? I see that happening. So, Stu, let me see here, right? Let's verify your claim there about. So we went from April 2020 to May, where we had negative 21,000 jobs. And then that recovered. That was 2020, though. If we go into the last, let's see. 25. Let's go back to 2022. 2021, 2022. We didn't have any negative 818,000 jobs adjustment in any year. I don't know what you're seeing there, but there's August 2020 to today. So I don't know what that statement comes from, where that comes from, but that's definitely not a accurate description, just so you know, Stu. But the other thing, is about these tariffs, right? If they don't trade in dollars, then it doesn't really affect them unless they trade with the US. They could trade with another trading partner of the US and then, shift things through other countries that have better trade agreements. And then you had Europe, they're trying to add more tariffs. Well, there was a trade agreement reached with Europe, I should say, the EU, and then there were some more tariffs added on certain countries where there were already trade agreements reached. We now have the tariffs on China have gone into effect as of Friday. Brazil and their 50% tariff because of that one I don't get. I have to be honest. Some of them I understand, some of them I don't get, right? The one with Brazil, the main catalyst for that tariff from President Trump's own words were how they are treating the former prime minister. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm just going to leave that alone. That was just a weird tariff there for me. But with those countries, I mean, think about it. Any country that wants major manufacturing, probably a third, if not more than a third of the world's manufacturing happens between Brazil, India, and China, right? Brazil, India, and China. Right. So that is, those are those that's just interesting, right? We'll see what that effect is. I know how many of you guys have seen the famous Ronald Reagan speech about tariffs? Yes or no? Let's see. So I'm not gonna play this now, but this is a very interesting thing, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Pizza Party, Chuck E. Cheese Party. I think that everybody should watch it, honestly. He really just takes on and tells you like it is about tariffs, right? And well, he was the creator of Reaganomics, right? One of the best Republican presidents of the late 1900s, which is my favorite way to say. I was born in the late 1900s, as all of us were, right? So feel free to use that one, but I think everybody should take time, watch that sometime on their own, and just copy that link, put it in a browser, and then pause it, and then you guys can watch it. It's very interesting what he had said, which is exactly what I've kind of found from from tariffs and from different things. I was actually doing a bit of research on when kind of some of the factors into the Great Depression and taking a deeper dive into it. And the first set of tariffs that were passed were actually passed in 1922. And then the big set were passed in 1929, which effectively, the first ones were on what were on domestic goods, right? So anything that we produced here in the US, we wanted to sell in the US, and we wanted those domestic goods at a fair price and cut off competition. That makes sense. So a lot of it was agricultural based, farming based, food based, right? Now because of the global economy and how things have shipped from everywhere, right? That wasn't the case, back as much back then. But then in 1927, the Smoot-Hawley Act, when it was passed and then later enacted in 29, that enabled basically a blanketed global tariff on every trading partner. And then on top of it, additional tariffs on 200,000 other products, which eventually froze manufacturing and froze supply chain. It didn't do it immediately, right? It was passed in 27. 29 was when we had the worst day in stock market history ever. And then the other one was passed in 22, and that took several years. So I basically went through and I created like what I call like a red light, green light scenario, right? So if something is highly correlated, I have it in red. If something is, medium correlated, I have it in like a orange. And then if it's not correlated, I have it in green. And what I found is that there are several factors going on right now that are just mirroring, right? Not as the Great Depression as of right now, not saying that, oh, this is going to happen tomorrow. No, absolutely not. Right? It was a few year run up for that to happen. We may see that few year run up to happen. I believe that we won't see these effects and we won't see the real effects and the real fall in the market until 2027. Until then, I am bullish, bullish, bullish on the market. I know there's going to be buying opportunities. I know there's going to be hiccups, but I'm going to be trading all along the way with you guys, and you'll see that. And I either may be Nostradamus or Nostradamus, but we will figure that one out together. And you will be able to you'll be able to, call me whichever kind of deal. So the other thing that occurred today, and this happened actually this morning, um, announces that it is illegal to own and trade crypto. So, news today, okay, says crypto ownership is illegal in China. This just announced today. China, let me look up crypto ban. Here we go. So, China crypto ban again. Basically, a couple of things here. So, China has capital controls. For those that don't know, you're only allowed to move so much money out of the Chinese yuan every day. And Bill, you like that one? So you're only allowed to move so much of your money out of the Chinese yuan every day, right? So what happens is the millionaires and billionaires, they'll come up with reasons to move money into US dollars, but they want that free capital. They want to be able to invest in things. And that's what crypto allowed them to do. But now they're going to make it illegal. Well, think about crypto. When crypto was first started, right? When crypto was first started, we Stu, thank you for that article. I see you just posted it in Discord, and I will take a look at it, and I'll tell you what it all, whatever it may mean. So, but when China initially banned crypto, right? Bitcoin fell like a rock. And then they said, okay, we reacted too much. Well, let's talk about this. Now, China and every crypto company, they have your driver's license, they have a alphanumeric sequence that shows exactly how much you have. If you think that that's not hackable, and if you think that the CCP does not have the exact amount of every single kind of crypto that anybody could own on any exchange, they know. And so now that it's become illegal, it'll be an interesting thing to see what is going to happen with Bitcoin over the next few days. Does it mean the government can't own it? That's a good question, right? Um, that's a good question. So, look, Bitcoin today, China reaffirms no new crypto ban despite market volatility rumors. China drops the hammer, full crypto ban. Has China banned crypto again? Right? It's who knows what the truth is, right? This was June 4th. This was 5 hours ago. I'm only looking at what happened here today. I don't know, right? We don't know. Well, let's go to the charts and let's see what the charts tell us. So I'm going to open up this in another tab, and we're going to first start with BTC, USD, and Coinbase. And look, on today, we're seeing a little bit of a rally in crypto, right? We don't know what the hell's going on with this thing. They don't know. Nobody knows. I do know that we have sellers in control and we have sellers in control, which tells me to sell. If I go and look at it on my system, I see, and I'm going to go change this one to the daily. So again, this is where that seller's in control, selling is in control, selling volume, selling energy, everything is saying sell. So we may see Bitcoin fall a little bit. Again, I don't know if it gets, if it breaks 109, then look for it to go to 105. If it breaks 105, then we're going to 100. If it breaks 100, now we're talking back down into the 80s or potentially in the 70s. But these are my stops. Okay. This is where I'm like, all right, break here. That's okay. 110, that's fine. If it breaks below, and you know what? I need to open this chart wider for those that are only looking at, can't see it. So sorry about that. So 110, then 105, then 100, then down here at 93, 85, and then 75. Those are our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major levels of resistance. Okay. Major levels of resistance. Now, if you want to go ahead and if you screenshot that, just type in done, right? Just type in done and let me know you got it. So that way you guys can see the numbers there. So, man, is that a lot of news happening? Perfect. Got 2 done. Anybody else? Going once. Going twice. Sold. All right, beautiful. So now let's take a look and see if there was any other major news that we may have missed. I'm gonna zoom this in for us. So, Greer says recent imposed tariffs are pretty much set. Says China conversation has been very positive. European automakers not optimistic of getting tariff carve out. Or let's see. So this is another interesting thing that occurred this past few days. So basically, Prime Minister Carney in Canada, he basically came out and not basically, I hate using that word. He came out and he said that if because of the tariffs imposed by the United States on Canada, they are now going to tariff the energy that they provide to the Canadian border states. So Minnesota, Michigan, Iowa, Idaho, all of those, and it's a good amount of people that Canada, powers. And they said if there are any, how do I put this? If there are any retaliatory things that takes place, then they will, if they decide to turn off the power, that is well within their purview to do. That is a really interesting scenario. I mean, really interesting scenario. We'll see how that plays out. I hope they don't turn off the power for the people that live up there. That would be devastating for those individuals. But I mean, what can you do? Kind of deal. So we're playing chicken with our with our neighbors to the north, and we'll see what happens. Let's see. Only Ethereum ETF since I like that. I like that. So let's any other news that I had? Berkshire Hathaway operating profits drops, reports warn of political adverse consequences from rapidly evolving trade policies. Yep. Mid East, Witkoff says working on plan to end the war in Gaza. Um, let's see. And that's about the major news. Let's see. Is there anything else that I want to bring up. I think that is it. And let's hit the charts. So before, actually, go ahead now and give me your ticker symbols, and let's take a look at some of the things you guys want to look at, and we'll take a look at some of the things that I want to look at as well. So whatever you guys want to, go ahead and type it on in, and we'll take a look at for you guys. I have a few that I'm going to be sharing with you guys as well. BMNR, AMD, Roblox, NEM, GC, NQ, ES, NBIS, SMR, OKLO. We're going to take a look at ARKK, ARKG, Dell, NVDA. All right, perfect. Well, here's the first one I want to talk about today. And this is actually this is part of my recommendation here, okay? So you guys, I'm going to go through this and then I'll let you know how you can go about trading this. And there's two ways that you could do this, all right? So the first is Amazon. Actually, there's going to be three ways that I'm going to share with this with you. And I'm going to add on something to this charts really quickly. The options. And I'm going to just change one of these inputs to sell. And then I'm going to turn off that, and that. Hit OK. And then I'm going to look for this, and this being off as well. Awesome. And we're going to check this as AMZN. So I have two charts of Amazon I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to show you the third thing, okay? So the first thing I looked at is obviously we saw Amazon and they there was a miss there, right? Even though they beat earnings, even though they beat revenue, the guidance that they gave, the forward guidance that they gave was not great. And then additionally, they have nothing really on AI, right? They have nothing really on AI, GFQ5 and CAD Swiss. So because of that, the market didn't really like that. Well, look, tariffs are not, I'm telling you now, I don't anticipate people not shopping at Amazon. So I'm going to go and tell you guys that if you want to begin to build a equity position in Amazon, feel free. You could build it in AMZN itself, right? Even though we have selling energy, I think we're going to still see this sell off a little bit, but I do think we will recover some of these gains coming up, probably get back to two. Let me show you where I think this will peak out at. So we'll probably peak out at 223, so about $10 higher. $9 higher. And then the bottom of this, I think, is at 195. If I'm building a position, I would be building a position down, for 214. I would take another few shares at 208, another few shares at 204, and then my last shares at 195 because I know that Amazon is still going to be Amazon at the end of the day. It's not like they're going anywhere. It's not like people are not going to shop for them. It's not like they don't have the biggest and best servers in the United States. They are well poised for long into the future, right? AI is something that they can partner with. They could partner with their, OpenAI allows companies to partner with them and use their stuff. Hence how SIRI. I dare not say that word because every one of y'all's phones would go off. But SIRI uses OpenAI and ChatGPT these days. So I look at this and I understand that, hey, this is going to be a big play, right? Well, there is another way to play this. The second way is, look, you can look at options on Amazon, right? And here, this gave us a put opportunity. Your 194 is still the exit, or you could do a spread trade if you wanted to on Amazon with the parameters I just gave you. But there's one last way that I want to share with you. And some people may like it, some people may not. How many of you have heard of leveraged ETFs or leveraged stocks? So that is one way that you could play this. $34.47 is the price of this stock. Okay. The highs, when Amazon was rocking at its highs, sure, it was, way up there in the $40 range. Let me go to the daily time frame. It was back up in the $42 range just, a couple of days ago. And the highest high it's been was in 50. So I am looking at this and I am going to more than likely on Monday, I'll be placing a small buy here with a larger buy at $30, right? My downside risk in this is $4 and my upside risk in this is, let's say, even if it goes back up, is $10 to 42, that's $8, right? So this is a great opportunity here. If you want to trade AMZU, that's Alpha Mike Zulu Umbrella, and that is a 2x bullish fund ETF on this, okay? So that is one of those positions. When AI sees itself being closed for a better AI, older prevents. Jerry, yes, that's exactly what happened to Gronk recently, which brings me to my next couple of recommendations. I read a really interesting article, and it talked about how Elon has already beaten the competition when it comes to AI and infrastructure and everything. Vicky, I would build a small position, right? So let's say I'm going to plan to trade 10 shares, I may trade 3 shares tomorrow and the other 7 shares at $30 if it falls to 30. If it doesn't fall to 30 and it rises back to 42, I still made some money and I'm not mad at that. That's how I would play that, okay? On AMZU. Now, here's what, and I'm gonna list out, right? Whether you like him or not, that's your opinions on him. It's whatever. I'm not here to talk about, liking or not liking somebody or anything. He's definitely brilliant. He definitely cares a lot more than some people think he might. He has a bravado that he plays up in the media, but if you read his biography, it's one of the most honestly, the most amazing books I've read since the Steve Jobs biography. But anyway, I digress. So you have Twitter or X, right? And then you have Tesla. And we can talk about some of his other companies as well, but we'll go Boring Company and we'll do SpaceX. And what's the internet thing called? What's the internet thing called? I almost called it Skynet, but I know that's from Terminator. Starlink, that's it. I almost called it Skynet. That's Terminator. So excuse me on that one. Um, oh man, it's those things. It's the look. The movies are real, right? So Starlink. We could talk about Neuralink later. These are the companies here. So I had announced this in the Sunday sessions a while ago. Tesla, okay, so TSLA, not a car company. They are a data company. Next, they are a chip company. And I told you all that Tesla is in development and are actively using their own chips for their AI, and it is well beyond what Nvidia is doing, and it is. And it's now come out and it's starting to gain traction that Tesla has their own chips. Because what they are doing is they're taking all of the video that millions of cars driving all around the world is is giving them. And all of that is feeding into the brain or Grok, which is then feeding back into Tesla cars for automated driving. And so this self-driving car has so much data points. It's now teaching in, all right, it's now teaching itself. The next is the Tesla robots, right? Tesla robots. Now, Tesla robots, they have those data points as well to teach them how to walk around, understand the layout. Like imagine one day you say, "Hey, robot, go get me some McDonald's or something down the road." It could walk there and get it for you. Or you could say, take my dogs for a walk for me. And it could take the dogs out and know the loop that you walk on because of the data that it sees. And it knows the roads and the sidewalks and all of that. Well, the next thing is Twitter, right? That feeds Grok, which is another AI, which teaches human interaction and communication. It teaches what's going on globally. And there are billions, if not trillions, of data points generated every single day, and if not every minute of every day, that it is teaching itself on, right? So it's now getting answers faster, quicker, and a little more accurate, or as accurate as the latest GPT 4.5, and GPT 5 is about to come out from OpenAI. And then you have SpaceX pushing Starlink satellites into the globe, which, by the way, I don't know if you saw it. One of the coolest articles I've ever read was they strapped a Starlink satellite on the top of a F-15 fighter jet. They were able to maintain data connection as this thing was flying full speed. The only time the connection broke was when it inverted and didn't have direct signal. So that's how good Starlink's military aspect is. Eventually, that aspect will be in global for us as well. But all of that data and internet fed to Twitter and Tesla and all of that. So we are really, really close to seeing any Musk company, I honestly think, have another major breakout, right? So if you're not in Twitter as a shareholder, in my opinion, what I would do is I'd buy a few, right? If all you could afford was 3 shares or 2 shares, buy your shares or 2 shares, and don't think about it. Don't worry about it. Don't don't do nothing with it. Just let it sit over there and let it be good. The next, right, is I would 100% be looking at Tesla. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. Right now it's at 302. I think that they may see, 272. I want to add on a couple of Um, moving averages just to see when was the last time it hit the 200 period moving average. So I'm going to make the blue line a 200 period moving average. And wow, would you look at that? It just hit the 200 period moving average. Now, if it closes below the 250 period moving average, then, just look for your next buying opportunity. Right? If it closes below the 200 period moving average, just look for your next buying opportunity. I don't think Tesla's not going anywhere, right? This company, he doesn't even care about the car. That's why all of his patents are open source, right? He even says, I hope all these car companies use all my patents and beat me in technology. That's what I want to have happen because he doesn't care. He understands the long game, right? So you're looking at a gap here at 401 that this could hit, and that's 302 to 401. That's $100 worth of movement. Look, if you can't afford a share of this, the company that the or shares of all of his companies, that's fine. Go look at ARKK. ARKK is a tech ETF. It's down now at 71 bucks. I think it's going to fall probably into the 58 to $60 range. Fill this gap at 62 easily, and that's where I would pick up more shares. If it breaks that, maybe 46, but technology is what's the only thing that's going to help overcome the tariffs. Because here's the thing, right? So tariffs cost production. So tariffs, and if I spell it wrong, y'all can laugh at me. I don't care. I've been spelling it wrong all the time. Okay. So tariffs are really interesting. Um, we pay the tariff. Now, we can lie about facts, but facts don't lie. We pay them, okay? Because it's a cost incurred by the company. The company is going to increase the price. It's just going to happen. They don't do things for free. And their shareholders are used to a certain level of profitability. If they fail to maintain that profitability level, we'll see what happens, right? So, tariff. Um, Now, here's the next part of it is that what could fix it? Well, onshoring manufacturing. Well, Tesla wants their robots to globally take over their assembly line in the next 3 to 5 years. Well, think about that. All those manufacturing jobs, we don't have to train people for them. We can train robots to do them. Now these robots will be taking over manufacturing. And I know I'm going to sound a little bit like a futurist here, but this is the way you got to think sometimes in the market. So you can start to buy quality companies now versus later, right? So we see these companies, okay, next 3 to 5 years, assembly line, robots take over the manufacturing jobs, the menial work that nobody wants to do. They can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, increasing production, which means we have more onshoring of manufacturing, which we have capability to handle, and those jobs are easily replaced. Okay, so Twitter is the one I suggested before. So we have, you know, I think Tesla next 3 to 5 years, huge company, massive. I'm talking if you take out all the future splits, I think Tesla would be a $2,400 stock in the next 3 to 5 years. And that is just the truth. That is something that I would absolutely own. All right. So those were my few. Let's take a look at some of y'all's right now. We will start BMNR. So what is BMNR? Is that a Bitcoin, Bitmine immersion technology? I don't even know what that is. Let me look. Oh, I closed it out. So I have to tell you, this looks like a classic penny stock pump and dump to me. I don't know what Bitmine Immersion Company does at all. I see they went public in 99 as what shell company though? Because there ain't no stock $20,000 a share, so that's out of the question. Let's see. FactSet BMNR. So Tom Lee is involved. I do not see Peter Thiel at all. So I don't see Peter Thiel involved. Let me see management and board though. So I don't know if Thiel is involved, as somebody asked. Let's see. So it's involved in mining technology. Don't know, right? Um, so it Daryl, thank you for the article. Let's see. So he bought a 9% stake in the company. Okay. Look, it could be a great company to invest in. I don't know enough about it right now to make a full, like my full this is exactly what I would do kind of deal. But what I will do is before next week, I will. In looking at it, still a lot of selling energy in here. We are touching the 50 period moving average. If I check it out on my system, still a lot of selling opportunity in this, and volume has dwindled. So I don't like trading just low volume stocks, but we'll see. I will be keeping an eye on it. Okay, I will definitely be keeping an eye on it. So now let's go into PPTA. That was another one that we talked about. That one I see again, all advertised. I now saw a big deal about it on CNBC. They were talking about PPTA on CNBC, on Squawk Box one morning. I think it was like Friday or something like that. And they were on Fox Business as well. So people are starting to be attuned to this PPTA company, and that can just be great opportunity for you guys. So if you don't own the position yet in it, that's fine. If you want to get it, go ahead by all means. $15.16. So even if you bought one share, your downside's $15. Your upside is whatever Peter Thiel does with all of his companies, right? Even if it goes from $15 back to where it initially launched at 37, that's going to be a great return. Okay, so now let's take a look at AMD. AMD 171. This is one of those that we absolutely must look at. Let me load up. Why didn't that load up? There we go. I want to see what Tyson's Fib Master system says about AMD, because I have my own sneaking suspicions that AMD is going to need a bit of a pullback here over right? Bearish opportunity. Called it on Thursday, July 31st, at when it closed right there at 176. It's down to 171. This could fall as low as 141. Probably will be right around 147 when it kind of stops, but it needs a pullback. Okay. So I'm looking for about a $30 fall here. So if you want to trade an option down to that, you could buy a put. There's a spread trade in there that you could do to offset your risk if you wanted to. But I'm looking at AMD down at, 147 ish in that realm. Roblox, RBLX, right? Again, tech name, tech company. Following like all the other tech giants, we just did fill the gap here, though. This not a lot left in this movement, maybe 110, 117. So maybe $5 here. I would just wait for that fall to end. They missed earnings, which is a surprise to some, not a surprise to others. And I would say this area of 118 is a big area of support. If we break through that level of support, 112, and if we break through that, the next we're looking at is 73. So if we stop at 118, look for a potential bounce there, or 112, a bounce there, and if not, we're cleared to fall for a while on Roblox. Okay. Let's look at NEM. Newmont Corporation. What do they do? Oh, nope. NEM. Metals. Love it. So we're seeing a little bit of a pullback, but you can see selling energy is dwindling. We filled that gap. I think 62.59 is a great company to this is a great price point to get into this. Only thing that concerns me, there's no gap there, no gap there. Hey, that was it. I was like, is there a gap still here? Nope. Is there a gap here? Nope. So we are cleared. I mean, 62.59, if you can get it at that price come Monday morning, go for it. I think it's a great opportunity. We'll be wrapping up in 3 minutes, Jim, just so you know. But I do think this is a great opportunity as well. Let's go through a couple others of these. SMR. SMR, we saw the pullback there. We still got the put. Look, we've talked about for a pullback in SMR. We hit that high. I told you guys, just be careful. Anything above this, we're not seeing it break above. That's fine. Look, this thing could pull back to $25 from where it is. That's the gap that's still open in there. We will see what occurs with that gap. And then if we look at it, on my system, SMR. Again, it's still showing buying opportunity, so probably gonna close this gap before we fall back down, right? We could be in the scenario where we're beginning to make lower lows and lower highs. We're seeing selling volume. Our RSI is telling us to sell. My custom indicator that I paid to have built is telling me hold on to that for a little bit before you don't just go jump and sell. Wait a little bit, because until this turns down and turns red, that's when I'm going to be looking for my sell. And let's go Dell. DLL. Oh no, what did I do? Let me add market energy back. I just figured something else out I could do that I didn't know I could do. So selling energy still ever present in that, they miss earnings. Bearish opportunity. I think this, we needed a pullback anyway. 109-ish in there, somewhere in there, probably 114. So another $13 fall in this, I'm A-okay with. And then I think we begin to see this to begin to rally up from there. And now we'll do the CAD Swiss. So CAD Swiss, we had the pullback. according to Fib Mastery, it is done pulling back. Market energy, though, shows still a lot of selling energy here and buyers not in control. So this could continue to push down. This is again this tariff fight that is going on right now, and we'll see how that plays out in the news. Now, if we go short term, because you can trade, Forex on the short term as well. This still has a little bit left to pull back, and we still have selling energy in on the short term as well. So until we see that the buying energy cross above selling energy, I'm not looking to be a buyer of the CAD Swiss. Do you think seasonality this time of year may be hard for equities in August and September? Actually, I do not. I know the whole sell in May and say away or whatever. No, I don't think so. Because anytime the president bumps his soup coolers about anything, this market goes wild. Okay, this market goes wild anytime he is bumping his soup coolers about good things and bad things. So we'll see. We don't know what to expect, but a tweet is more powerful than any economic news in any system that I have ever seen. And now another GFQ5. I don't even GFQ. Um, cattles. Good old moo cows. Bearish opportunity, probably a small pullback in beef, but I honestly think, we'll see prices rise here. As the price of feed rises, as the price input costs go up, output costs go up. That just is what it is. Okay. Um, input costs go up, your costs go up, the price goes up. So could this rally up? Yeah, buyers are still in control. Let me look at it on my GFQ. Um, on the daily though, we could start seeing a little bit of a pullback. So just mind yourself. Let me look at the daily here. What does this say? Daily, this has a lot more room for pulling back, about $20 more. So I'm more concerned about the daily movement in this. I think it was Bryce that asked about this. So if depending on your time frame, depending on the time frame you're trading, the daily is giving me a lot of selling opportunity. Whereas, short term, if you're in it for a buy, be very short term, right? But selling opportunity there. This is not a sell on my system as of yet. However, the Stochastic RSI is selling. This is what I would tell you to do. Add on a couple of moving averages, a 50 period moving average and a either a 10 period and a 25 period moving average. If it breaks below the 10 period moving average, and you are buying, I would close out. If you are selling, I would keep holding. If it touches the 20 period moving average, I would maybe look to take profit. But if it pushes below it, I would keep on selling. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Somebody asked about Apple. Love it. Let's take a look real quick, and then I do have to run for my other meeting. Now, I will tell you guys the link will change. I will pull today's attendance. I will make sure you all get emailed the link early this week for that. Apple, I still think Apple is going to fall. I'm going to tell you right now, even though they beat earnings, okay, this is every single year when the iPhone doesn't have a jetpack built in, cures cancer, lets you dunk a basketball and play golf like Tiger Woods all in the same phone. Because it doesn't do all of those things, it's not going to sell, right? Just the sentiment is that, and it always has been. So I'm looking for Apple to continue to fall, probably down into this 195 area, and we're just going to live in support and resistance for a little while until September when the announcement comes out, September 8th. Then it'll probably fall a little bit lower, and then we'll see a rally up because people will still buy the latest phone. I'll be honest. If I need a new one, I don't know. Depending on how many more times I can drop it and it doesn't, it's a personal one, Jerry. Um, depending on how many more times I can drop mine without needing a new one, hey, I'm good to go. But if I do, I'll get one, right? If I don't, I won't. And that's just the sentiment of it, right? If they do release, so there is talks of dual screen in iPhone. There is talks of this coming out. Let me see. Actually, foldable. This one. So this is renderings that how this came about is that there are case companies that get iPhone specs early and they are able to make cases for phones. That's what they do. And there are companies saying this may come out this year, it may come out next year, but it would be a foldable iPhone. Everything I've heard is next year. Jerry, I already went over the Cat Swiss. I hope saw it. Um, Likely next year. Who knows though, with Samsung announcing theirs, Apple may feel pressure to announce it and then ramp up production. So we'll see. If this does come out, I think it'll be more of a bullish opportunity in Apple at post announcement. But I wouldn't really be in it one way or the other until the announcement is had. So, look, guys, I got to wrap this up. I am 6 minutes late for my next my personal meeting after this that I must attend. So, if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to reach on out, post in Discord. I will look at I will look at uh editing this and trying to post this on the YouTube. The YouTube. How old did I just sound? I will look at this and post this on YouTube, hopefully tonight or in the morning, depending on processing times. And I will see you all next week. I hope you guys are loving these sessions and looking to continue on with them. I love hosting them. So look forward to seeing you guys next Sunday. Have a good one.